Iphigenia Effie Athanassiou is the founder and CEO of Cyprusays, the world's first mobile app dedicated to teaching modern Cypriot Greek digitally. As an Australian-born Greek Cypriot, Effie was motivated by the lack of accessible tools for Cypriot Greek, so she created Cyprusays to preserve the language and learn Cypriot Greek herself. After 15 years leading award-winning advertising and production campaigns for global brands including Kia, Amex, and Samsung, she turned her creative leadership and expertise towards solving this cultural need. Cyprusays is both a tribute to her late father and her family and a gift to the next generation, preserving the soul of Cypriot Greek for communities around the world. Effie, welcome to the Future Makers podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me and thank you for the invitation.
Of course. I want to start from the beginning. So Kypriaka says, we live life forward, but we understand it backwards. How does that reflect in your own understanding of your early years?
It's a very good question. When I read this question, I remember my father and I sitting at the dining room table. He was helping me with my Greek school homework, and we didn't go to Greek school till we were a bit later. We were, my parents were working a lot, so we weren't near a school, so we only started a bit later. I was about 11 when I went to Greek school, and we were a bit behind. And we'd sit at the table to get help from my dad. My dad was born in Cyprus, so he loved studying and all those things. So we'd ask for his help and sit together to do our Greek school homework to understand it a bit better. And he started explaining to me, half of the donos are missing. There's no accents in what they're teaching you. So he started teaching. We'd sit on that for 2 hours, sitting on the table, with him explaining this dono, their little accents, not just the normal dono that we all know. And I remember just really stressing out that he was teaching me something that our Greek school teachers were saying, that's not how we do Greek school anymore in modern Greek. It's just a different way of the new modern Greek of what that we were learning. And now looking back, we've added in all those donos into our app because once we started learning what the differences was of the ancient Greek donos and the different accents that were part of the dialect and the language back then that my dad was teaching us, is why Cypriot Greek has its own unique dialect and has its own sounds that now we've added into our pronunciation guide and things like that. So it's so funny that when I remember sitting there trying to understand what he was trying to teach us, and now we've added that into what we're doing as well into our app, so people can sort of learn those things as well. So it is funny in the moment. I didn't really realise why that was happening, and here we are now adding it and trying to educate everyone as well, those extra little bits and pieces.
What was your relationship to Cyprus growing up? Was it just a faraway destination that you'd go to, maybe during the summers just to visit family, or were you more connected?
We didn't visit very much when we were little. My dad was born there. He came here after the 74 war. He fought and moved to Australia after, and then we didn't get to visit. I only visited Cyprus when I was in my 20s. In 2016, I came with my mum and my sisters, and then I came again in 2019 with my dad for another trip. So we hadn't really visited. We just would have our mum call our yaya and say, "Hey, yaya's on the phone. She's from Cyprus. Jump on the phone call." That was sort of the connection we had. It was a faraway place for us, but we did enjoy going to Cypriot Greek dancing. When we were in Adelaide, we used to live down there, and in high school when I was a teenager, we used to go, we joined the groups that were on like Wednesday nights, and we did do Greek school, like I said, a bit later, and also we'll go to church and things like that. But Cyprus, there was a bit of a connection when we got to go to Cypriot dancing, and we met the community there, and we were sort of loving that connection, and there was a bit of a home feeling with the community there. So that was really great because it it was something really special to feel like there was a connection there in our hearts, and it came through when we used to go to Cypriot practice, and we'd perform at all the different festivals around Adelaide, and but we'd speak to I've got cousins too. My dad's one of 5 boys, so my 2 of my theos lived here in Cyprus, and 2 of my theos were with us in Australia. So we've got cousins here, and we'd talk on the phone and things like that. But we didn't get to visit that much. So it was those kind of connections that were growing up. Hearing it in the house with my uncles speaking it with my dad, and my mum was born in Sydney as well. But my grandparents on her side were also from Cyprus, so we heard a lot of Cypriot Greek growing up. And going to the Cypriot dance groups was really great to have that, hear that language again, and that dialect coming through, and just speaking and connecting. We didn't get to visit till we were older, so that was a really nice thing to be able to come back when we were in our 20s to be able to see Cyprus for it. Not just what we've heard from our family in Australia, but coming to visit the place itself.
Yeah. What was your understanding of a woman, and maybe even a Cypriot woman, especially growing up, in 2 cultures, but physically growing up in like the Australian culture?
I think for me, my mum was a very strong Cypriot woman, and I think she was always looking after the house, and my parents also had fish and chip shops, so they were working as well, so they were hardworking, but also looking after the house and looking after all of us. I have 2 sisters, so there's 3 of us, and she was always, for me, it's the same for me now when I cook. She cooks these Cypriot dishes that I just love so much, and the smells in the house when I get to cook those as well now, it just reminds me of my mum in the kitchen cooking all those things, and it's just it's just there's just a strength and a beauty in her being my the role model, and also my aunties and everything. They were just the same. There's just just like a really nice feeling of family and bringing everyone together. That they're like the heart of our family. All my aunties and my mum and all of the women that are just really, and the ones that my auntie here as well in Cyprus. She's got a beautiful strength to her as well. So it's just something that I try to embody as well.
What was it about the language that they thought it was important to pass on to their children? It was just natural that they were speaking, like from how it's just a way to communicate. That's just how they, how our family lived together. It wasn't, I don't even think they thought about it that much. It was just important to just still speak in the house, which we didn't learn it as well as we could have growing up, because we had those, we had Cypriot Greek at home, but we were learning modern Greek at school, and so that was the hard part. That we'd hear it at the house, but then when you go to go to normal school and things like that, you'd use English, and so Cypriot Greek in Cypriot dance groups and things like that is where we used to hear it a bit more. But we did default a little bit to English growing up, but it's still something that I just love to hear, and my dad would it's their natural dialect, and they just love to just speak, because there's the humour as well, and the storytelling that when my dad would tell a story or my uncle would tell a story, it was just so rich and beautiful, and my mum just making all those those beautiful recipes, but just speaking to my dad, and it was just like a way to connect that just felt really homely. So you went on to study, what did you study?
I did a Bachelor of Arts in Multimedia. So I went to university in Adelaide, and I got to do a bit of everything. So I was studying photography, I studied website design, I did film, I worked in animation, I did I worked on, we built not just websites, but we built video games and things like that in my course. So it was like an all-rounded course, which I really loved because it was multimedia. And I got to do a bit of everything, which is how I ended up, I think, also in advertising, where we come up with ideas and we create all these different things for different platforms, different assets, different channels for advertising campaigns. So, which ended up leading us to making an app as well, which was great. So it's been really helpful to have all those skills to be able to put together Cyprusays and know how to build a brand, but also work on the app and build the interface and all the branding. But understanding how it all works in the back has been a great add-on from my course.
So you then went on to work in a lot of corporate establishments, obviously not working for yourself. What pushed you to even think about the idea of trying to build something on your own, going down the path of entrepreneurship?
I think growing up around my family who had their own businesses as well. So my parents had fish and chip shops growing up, and but my dad also worked in factories and other things. I have a few family members as well that have their own businesses as well. So it was always something in me that wanted to, I think, always have my own business and a little bit of entrepreneurship. I was actually thinking about entrepreneurship when I was looking at my uni degrees. I think there was a course that I didn't select I wasn't sure what I wanted to do in that space. So I wasn't sure if that was the right thing. So I ended up doing multimedia studies. But I've been working in some really big agencies in Australia, some advertising agencies like DDB, MNC Saatchi, and quite a few others. And yeah, it was really good to learn how all these big brands were doing campaigns and building all these different things. And then, there was just something when we have a blank page when we start a campaign. There's nothing exists. We just have our ideas and we have to make it happen. And we build commercials and we build, all these different things and ideas into like something from nothing. And when I came to that crossroads of going, there's no way to learn Cypriot Greek, I just, I couldn't understand that was the way it was. My uncles would tell me, you have to go live there. You can't learn it online. There's no way to learn. The only way to learn is to go live there and hear it from everybody else, how they speak, and you'll just pick it up. And in my field, we make things happen from nothing. So I really thought that wasn't really an answer. And I had the idea to, figure out there has to be a way to do this and collect research or, reach out to different people and figure out if there's a way to do it. And I met my husband and he was in the same entrepreneurship mind. He loves ideas as well. And when we met, that really was such a good help and support to have him alongside being like, yeah, let's do it. We can do this. We can do it together. And we reached out to different people and, it was just something that, we've got people that, we've got our linguists, our academic team that messaged us back. We're like, if we send an email and no one replies, then it doesn't matter. We tried. At least we didn't have that regret that we didn't try. So, and then it went from there, and we've just were, even if I helped one or two people that were the same as me growing up, that were like, I'm looking for something to learn. I'm looking for a way to connect with my family. It would be worth trying to make something happen out of it. And that came through when we put up a website to get expressions of interest at the start, and it just ended up, we had messages. We couldn't believe, thought our emails were broken. People were just sending us their messages because we said you can write a message to us, and people were like, oh my God, my American husband is ecstatic, or I've been looking for something to teach my daughters, and all these messages that had me in tears, crying that I wasn't the only one, and it gave you the drive to just go, you know what, we've got to do this. And so we just kept going, and it took a couple of years to, it was sort of a on and off sort of journey because of the roadblocks along the way, but it was just something that made us go, we have to do this, start this business, do this entrepreneur life. And it's been a hell of a journey since we started.
I think I want to explore this idea of community, especially community outside of Cyprus. What has been your relationship about like building a community around like culture and Cypriotness? Yeah,
we like I said, growing up, we were in the Cypriot community, and it's Australia's very big, but the Cypriot community is very connected. I think my sister actually went to Nepomac, when she was 18, she connected into that program, and she's met other Cypriots as well. She's now her Gumbara, and we've got we've got my Gumbara as well. He's a Cypriot that's also in the Cypriot community. He's a musician and all these things. So I think everyone, even though we're in Australia and we're on the other side of the world, we're very connected, and there's enough of us, but it's a small community. It doesn't feel like everyone's that far away from each other, and there's a big connection there. So it's really, really important for us that we feel like we can, we get to go to those different events, whether it's, Cypriot dancing groups or if it's festivals or, just hanging out with our Gumbadi. It's very connected, and it feels really nice to have that, even though we're on the other side of the world, all the way over in Australia. And even starting Cyprusays, we've seen all the community just really gets behind us. It's been really beautiful to see everyone connecting and sharing their own stories too, and telling us, oh, I had the same experience, or, we're in London, or we've been in South Africa. Another guy I remember said to us, he's in Ireland, and he's so excited that he found us so that he can speak to his Yayam and Bapul. Nice. And it's just, my heart just goes, oh, that's so good. I'm so glad we did this. So if it feels like there was something, not just me, I wasn't the only one, and there's so many others that are wanting to connect, and that's the biggest connection for us, that we get people who are just like sharing their stories, and no one wants to be on their own, and everyone feels that community, even though we're worldwide, but it's been a great show of how strong the Cypriot community is, even if it's, from one side of the world to the other.
I think one of the things that that attracted me to what you are trying to build is that even the relationship of the local community towards their language is etsy at times. They don't see it as an official language. And there is this shame around it, even in schools, where teachers are pushing to the children to speak, modern Greek rather than what they speak in the family context. So usually this language is very constrained to like this oral format, whereas you are trying to actually create something that's a little bit more tangible. And I guess this is where technology plays a role. It's moving it away from the oral box into something that is a bit more official, a little bit more text-based, something that people can actually feel like, yes, this language actually exists and it's not going to go extinct.
No.
How important was technology in this journey of, one, connecting you to the language and also sharing it with others?
It's been a huge, huge thing, because that's what we all have. Technology in our pockets. We all have it. We use it every day. And for us, being able to, like, we wouldn't have been able to connect with the Cyprus Diaspora Forum if we hadn't had it been shared with us on Facebook and things like that. So the technology has connected us in many different ways across the world. And being told that you can't learn Cypriot Greek is just, it's just like, in this day and age, it shouldn't be, it will, if we don't preserve it, it will just sort of disappear, which for us was very important to preserve it in that way and document it in that way. And our linguist team has been studying this for so many years, and they've written papers and academic papers about it. And we speak to, so we've got Spiros, Natalia and Kostandina, our academic team, that helped us along this journey. And they say that there's a lot of politics, and don't want to go into all the politics of it all, of what becomes a standardized language and doesn't. But we've had a lot of people that will still, that we, the argument of it's not a language, it's a dialect, and all these things. And we have that modern Greek we have Greek. Greek is the foundation of Cypriot Greek. There's the percentage on top of it that has its own unique sounds and unique way of the structures of the different sentences. And that's the whole thing, that we don't want people to feel like it's a shame about speaking, or it's, you're uneducated if you're speaking Cypriot Greek, because it's just a different aspect to it that is just a build upon. We've had people message us as well that have said to us that Cypriots as well, that we've never really seen our language or dialect, whatever you want to say, it written down. So there've been so many people messaging us as well that they're so excited to see it in that context as well, because it has just been an oral thing and just something that you hear and you've never seen it written down. So our linguistic team have been amazing, and we've learnt so much with them, and we wrote the reading and pronunciation guide together with them. And it's just about just like knowing a bit more about that it's not its own. It's not. I don't feel like modern Greek is right or wrong for me. Like, it's all baked together. We have our Greek and we have Cypriot as well. So it's just that the whole idea of Cyprusays was to be able to have that option for people to learn. And I was told I was wrong growing up at Greek school. I was, I'd say bola, and I was told it's boli. It's not right. And everybody I've heard growing up have said bola or bopse, not a bopse. And it's not, there's, they both exist. They're both correct in their own way. And, it's hard to hear that when you're growing up and you're trying to learn and you're like, I don't understand why this is, it's wrong or right and all these things. So it's just to give it its own space, give it its respect as well. So for us, that's what, hearing the linguists as well been saying, people have been asking us, people move here, they're learning modern Greek, but they feel like they don't understand everyone in Cyprus because they still don't feel like they can understand all the different the words and the other bits and pieces that are Cypriot. So we've been just trying to give it its own space and not have it be such a negative. We're trying to break that stereotype of it being, or that negative connotation that it's shameful. There is modern Greek and there's also Cypriot, and we're here to just celebrate it and not we're not here to say if this one's right or wrong and all those things. It's just the first time that we've captured it, and it's just been really interesting for us. We've learnt so much along the way to see the different, and those donos are the ones that help connect some of the words that will, shorten words and things like that, where it's just a different structure of a sentence. You can say the sentence, Greek forward and the Cypriot is backwards, and you can say it both ways. And it's just all those things that when you're trying to think, why am I saying this right, or I'm being told I'm wrong at Greek school, there's all these reasons, because there's all these little things of what makes Cypriot Greek unique.
What has this journey building this platform taught you about success and failure?
A lot.
Where do I start?
For me, like I said, like the success was to help one other person that was like me. That was the success and worth the time and all of the effort for it would be a success for me, because any one person that has gone through that sort of same feeling, anyone that I could help, it was worth doing it. So that was a big thing for me to make sure that nobody else or someone else who had felt that had something different to feel like they're not on their own, and not to feel ashamed to speak how their family speaks and their heritage and their culture to be looked at in that respected way. So that was for me the main thing there. And failure, I think failure for me wasn't really like I as in advertising you fail all the time, and it's like 99% of your ideas in advertising get thrown in the bin. You have all these ideas and someone will tell you no, that's not right, and it's okay not for it to be right for that campaign or right for that brand or right for that moment. So I've failed a lot in terms of my ideas going nowhere, and that's okay, because like I said, I've worked on for different brands all over the world, and that's okay. That's part of life. It's not a personal failure. It's just that that moment, that idea is not right in that time. So I think failure in terms of this business, it's not. We were trying to get the don or the accent to sit above the Ju is one of the characters, the tall Zita, and to get it to perform correctly in the app, our developers had to really try to figure out how it doesn't display properly. It overlaps and it sits incorrect. So that was a big almost failure that we had, because if that wasn't working, we couldn't put the app out there. So that was like I was just like, you know, in a bit of a stressed moment when my husband and I were like, he's like, it's going to work it out. I was like, but then it wasn't working at certain points, and I just was like, okay, if this, we've done all this,
Finish.
We've done all this for nothing.
Just the one letter.
Yeah, that's it. That one letter was going to undo the whole thing. But we have an amazing chief data technology developer, and he figured it out. He's a genius. So he figured out how to make it behave in the digital world. And that was just like a almost, you know, failed moment. But I think we're just getting started, and I think it's just any failure is just it's just an experience of what to do next and how to pivot. So we don't really sort of see it that way. And I think the success of just making it and having it out there and being here and speaking with you and doing all these things, we were just like, I had this idea. In COVID, in lockdown, I had a little notebook and I wrote down this idea of like, I really want to make this, you know, I want to start this on the side and make this happen as an idea that needs to come to life. And it's just the explosion of it and all the love for it and the sharing of it. And there's been some negative comments as well, but that's okay. People can have their opinions, and we're just here for the people that it means something to, and everybody else, that's okay. We're just here to, you know, spread that love for our culture, and that's who we are. There's something it's like our identity. It's in our roots. It's in our family, and we've all heard it growing up. So it's just, that's a big success for me, that people are connecting with it and wanting to share it around. And you know, one lady says she got teary watching our video and things like that. So that to me is the success, that it's, you know, connecting with people, and that's all we could ever ask for.
What is next right now for the app, for the platform, for your entrepreneurial journey?
What's next? We have actually got, I spoke on the Cyprus Diaspora Forum on a panel at the Hospitality and Tourism panel. So we had the Deputy Minister of Tourism there. He was, you know, taking down some ideas with some of my other panellists. They're keen to chat to us. We've also got some chats with some schools, and we've heard about some of the other representatives as well at the Diaspora Forum are keen to speak with us, and we're really excited to see if we can get it in schools alongside modern Greek, and whether that's in schools, whether it's in hospitality, if it's in hotels for different people. We had some really great support from someone as well who messaged us. He put up a poster for us in his shared workspace for where there's a lot of people that are from overseas in Cyprus, and they could learn. So yeah, there's just a lot of different things happening there, and we do have some other ideas. We're speaking with our linguists this week while we're in Cyprus. We're catching up with them for the next round of what we're going to add into the app. And we also have some other ideas, but I won't share those too soon. But there are some. We have got some really exciting things in another project in the making for another extension of Cyprusays. So stay tuned. It's going to be exciting.
Lovely. I want to ask you a personal question.
Go
what are
for
the values you live by?
The values. My values mainly are just that there's an authenticity of just be yourself. I think that's very important. I'd like to be your own person and be who you are, and not put on a facade and things like that. Just to have a level of empathy for other people. I'm always I can't help it. I already just, if someone's upset, I feel I feel their feelings, and I put myself in their shoes, and I want to do anything that I can to help them, or feel that if they're joyous, I feel the joy as well. So there's that empathy as well. And creativity is a big one for me. I've always been creative since I was little. My dad wanted me to be an accountant, and I was good at maths, but I didn't love it. It wasn't my thing. I loved art and design.
Cypriot thing, I have to say.
It was. He wanted me to be an accountant, and I was really top of my maths class and all those things, but I just loved art and design and creativity and all those things, and dance. I wanted to do dance as a subject, and it was, not going to get me anywhere. So in his view. Being creative in whatever that is, even if it's cooking or if it's, doing exercise and feeling free and all those things. It's just that's something to just be authentic and be yourself and, always, lead with love.
Yeah. You talked a lot about how this app was kind of a tribute to your father and how you're growing up with his teaching, actually, put the seeds down for you to actually build. How has building this app kind of reconnected that relationship or reconnected with that memory of those early years?
It's been, it's been a really good catalyst to connect back, and even we've used some videos from my Cypriot Greek dancing when I was a teenager and things like that, and it sort of took us down that memory lane as well of being in Adelaide and going to Cypriot dancing and connecting to all those things. And I've looked at some old home videos as well, and you can hear my dad and my mum, they're speaking Cypriot Greek, and it gives you that, this is what we're doing it for, and that's what we remember growing up. And it's just been beautiful to connect with that backwards, but then also forwards with the people that we've met, with our linguists and our team members, and my cousins and my aunties and uncles that are here in Cyprus. And it's just being around that language and that dialect. It's really, it gives you that connection back to it, and it gives you back that, whether, with my dad or with my, family growing up, and it's like you feel at home and you feel around something that feels like you're where you're meant to be. So it's been a really nice, that drive, that's sort of like the underlying thing of why we're doing all this. And when it gets tough, that's the whole reason we're doing it, is to have someone else, if they're in Ireland or if they're in South Africa and they, want to feel that same feeling. That's sort of the drive of how we've been leading with why we want to do all this. And when it gets tough, you kind of think about that, and that's why we're doing it all.
Yeah. What is the future that you're building towards through this app, but also just through your own life and the way you're kind of moving through it?
The future for us is to have people know about us and know, that Cyprusays is here to break down that stereotype of Cyprus, the way the Cypriots speak. We are not uneducated. We're not village speakers. Like it's just, that's the thing that we really want the future to feel, that people, we're family and friends, and people who go, they switch it up, try and speak proper Greek in front of certain people, or whatever the context is, and coming here and being in Cyprus, and you just hear everyone speaking Cypriot Greek, and it's just used. It's used all the time, and I don't want people to feel that shame and that sort of negative connotation of it. So that's the future for us, is that people feel just embracing who they are and the way they speak, and not feel like they need to switch it up and be embarrassed and not speak how they're used to speaking, that comes naturally to them, or how their family speaks. So that's the future of what we want it to be, whether that is getting it into schools, if it's hearing about it more often and all those things, or having it taught alongside modern Greek would be amazing for us. So that's hopefully our plans that can come together.
Beautiful. And my last question to you is, for the young people who are, I guess, in the Cypriot diaspora now, living, I guess, away from a home. I want to say a home, because of course they've probably already made a home in wherever they are too. What advice would you give them to connect to that self that they may be longing for?
I think for me, it's just being able to connect with any family or, people that are in that sort of same ilk. If you can find a community, if you don't have that many family members, but always coming back to your family and hanging around, and being around, spending time with them. Like, I always love to come back. We visit as much as we can. It's been about almost 2 years since I've been able to come back to Cyprus, and it gives me that grounding, being able to come and visit and be here in Cyprus. You sort of feel that when you get here. So if you can't come all the way here, trying to find that community. There's everyone from speaking to the Diaspora, community when we've been at the forum the last few days. Everyone's everywhere. There's people in America, in the UK, South Africa, everywhere. We've got people downloading us. We thought it'd only be those top countries, and we've had all these different people downloading all over the world. People are there's Cypriots in Spain, so just reaching out and find. There's such an open community, and everyone's willing to connect together. So finding whoever those people are, whether that's family or anyone in the community, and just you'll feel that love when you connect with them and reach out, whether it's near your home or if it's coming to Cyprus and finding those people as well.
Effie, thank you so much
for
coming to share. I am honored to have you here and talk to you and kind of share your story. I really want to do what I can to support your initiative, because I think it's really needed and necessary.
Much.
So
thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate it. I love talking to you, and thank you so much for reaching out and connecting. It really means a lot.